Oh, hello everyone. Welcome in to today's stream. Bit of a catch up on the transfer front and what's happening all in regards to Newcastle United. Basically, I've been given some massive news in the transfer front in the last hour. It's understood that this one has come from Chelsea side of things. It's understood that Newcastle United will indeed try their very, very best to try and get that one man that I've said from the start of the window, Christian Pulisic, in on loan. It's going to take a lot in regards to wages and things, sorting it out with Chelsea and getting it all signed off. It's only developing due to the fact that there's an update with sort of the Aubameyang situation. So Chelsea, obviously, Pulisic doesn't fit in that side. Pulisic is looking to get first team football, so it is understood that Pulisic will look to move elsewhere to get that football. Now it's just all down to Chelsea and sorting that wage situation out. The next one we've got another one to talk about is Maddison. So James Maddison was linked a couple of weeks ago now. It was understood there was a bid put in. Bid wasn't high enough. Rodgers wasn't really happy with it. A lot of people talked about it. It sort of died down. Didn't say anything else in regards to any more bids going in. However, I have been told this morning that that bid is still on the table for Leicester to consider. This may develop come towards the end of deadline day. The only reason I'm saying this is that Wesley Fofana, the centre-back at Leicester, has just handed a formal transfer request in to try and push that move through to Chelsea. So I wouldn't be surprised if Maddison gets a bit upset and wants this move to Newcastle. It'll be a big pay packet for him. It'll be something that we've wanted for a long time in that number 10 sort of player. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Maddison potentially come in on deadline day. But the other one is, that's been rumoured since January, and we keep bringing it up in every video, and we still haven't seen anything formal approach about it. Bit of a mix-up with how much he's valued at, how much the club's looking for, is Lucas Paquetá. Paqueta's been linked multiple times in Newcastle. It's understood he wanted to come back with Bruno and all these other things, but it's understood that Paquetá, the deal's a bit different to how everyone else expected. It's understood that the deal is a lot more than everyone originally thought. It was that he was valued back in January at 50 million. That fee is either high above what it was expected or very low below of what it was expected. It's looking more and more likely that that fee, I think someone reported there was a fee that reckoned around 33 million that Leon would take. That's not the case, because if that was the case with 33 million, Newcastle United would have pushed in with that transfer, and Paquetá would already be a player of Newcastle United. So it's nothing to do with that. That's not ever the case with him. It was never been the case. But yeah, Paquetá, obviously one that just doesn't seem to go away, which is going to be interesting come towards deadline day. We're going to see transfers coming in sooner rather than later. And one of those transfers may indeed be Pedro from Watford. It's understood that Joao Pedro, the striker at Watford, might be the next man through the door at Newcastle United. It's understood that earlier on today, I did announce in one of the shorts that Pedro will indeed hopefully be a Newcastle player in the next couple of days. This is due to, apparently, the second bid was launched. It's went in. It's understood that the bid's around 30 million plus add-ons. I think where there was a saying that Watford valued him around 35 million. So it's looking more and more likely that Newcastle United are going to meet that evaluation of Watford. Whether he's got or not, who knows? That's completely up to how he gets on at the club. I don't judge anyone before they sign with the club. I think it's only right you give them time and see how they develop under Eddie, because obviously we have seen him revive some players in his time at the club. Anyway, one that could upset the fan base, and I don't think it will, I think it's just media playing things up, is Bruno Guimarães has been linked with a move to Real Madrid. He's only been linked to a move to Real Madrid because Casemiro could be on his way to Manchester United. But Newcastle United apparently would want double of what they paid for him. I think that valuation is wrong. It's false. Don't get it too involved with how the media represents these things because, let's be honest, Guimarães is happy. Newcastle will give him anything he needs to make him happier. And I think Guimarães himself knows how much he's loved at the Toon and how much he would be offered just to stay at this club. And I think he'd be stupid to leave. The other thing as well is with Bruno, he could go to Madrid and he could just be a bench warmer. So there's a lot he would consider, and there's no point even getting around to it because I just don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think it'll happen this season. Maybe next summer, maybe. I think we'll have one of the mint seasons we've not had in a long time. I think we'll see potentially come next summer that Bruno Guimarães potentially gets a move to an absolute world-class club like Real Madrid. But let's not rule out the fact that we could also finish in like a Europa League position or even Champions League, depending on how the club fights. But yeah, there's also a guy that was linked a few weeks ago as well by the name of Bamba Dieng. This guy is a striker. He plays at Marseille. So just so that he was linked for a while. There was meant to be bids going back and forwards and deals getting sorted with that. But that seems to have went a lot slower than the club would have once hoped. If I'm totally honest, I don't see Newcastle, if Joao Pedro is coming in, I don't see Newcastle pushing to get another striker because it would just make no sense to have, because you would have Chris Wood, you'd have Wilson, you'd have Pedro, then you would have another striker. You'd have like 4 strikers there. I just don't think it would have, I don't even think it would be considered by Eddie Howe. We have already 4 goalkeepers in the squad, and by far I've said time and time again, we need to look to either move these on permanently or get them out on loan and just get them out the team. They just need football, and then you get out the squad, and them wages need to be reinvested back into the team we've got now. So speaking of that, players on the outgoings. So obviously we've got Caldolo, who's just sitting around, and someone that was linked with going to Borough. I still think Darlow would potentially go somewhere towards the end of deadline day. I think he'll either be going on a loan move somewhere. It looks to be that Darlow will move somewhere. He's not someone Eddie Howe looks to keep in, especially when you got Nick Pope and Dubravka sitting around in your team. The other one is Gillespie, Mark Gillespie. He's also been sitting around the club for a long time. They brought him back. We haven't seen much of him at all. I think he's just been, I think he was like the 4th choice keeper. And I just don't think we'll see Gillespie feature at all. So I'd be surprised if Gillespie doesn't go up to Scotland or something like that. But there should be movement in and out of Newcastle very, very shortly. I would expect Matty Longstaff to probably go out on loan in the future as well. I think he needs to go somewhere and get game time, potentially a Premier League club or even a Championship club. I just think he needs to get some more game time and just don't loan him to West Brom because everyone hates Steve Bruce. But yeah, that's a different situation. But yeah, next one, we've also got Federico Fernandez. This man, he's just went missing. I believe he's injured with some sort of injury at the minute. So we'll see him probably just not come back in the squad. I don't think he'd make it back into the team. Look at the way Shaw, Byrne, Botman and everything like that's just going to develop. And obviously you've also got Lascelles who will be coming in and around the first team. So I wouldn't be surprised if none of that changes and Federico Fernandez either gets released or he manages to find some form of deal that's an undisclosed fee. The other one that I've always said shouldn't be playing at Newcastle any longer. Yes, he is a boyhood fan. He's grew up in the area and things like that. Jacob Murphy. I just think Murphy's come to the end of the road now. I just don't rate him. I know there's a few fans that do rate him, but for me, I just don't think he's got it in him. I don't really think he's got what it takes to be a Premier League quality player. I know it's awful, but it's just my honest opinion. I don't think Murphy should be making in this team. But yeah, that's that on that one. Don't forget, if you're in on the lives, don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's much appreciated when leaving likes on the video. And don't forget to share it about and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because obviously we're on that road to 700 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. But yeah, I can't thank you enough for that. I've got 2 more transfers to speak about in regards to Newcastle United. One of them, I'll start straight off on the bat. These are just players that I would be very surprised that don't get offered towards the end. They make sense because of the market Eddie Howe seems to be looking in. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's at the right price and they push for them. The first one, James Ward-Prowse. James Ward-Prowse, yes, he's probably untouchable because he's at Southampton, but James Ward-Prowse potentially moving out of that club is more than likely. I think I'd be very surprised if Ward-Prowse, if we put our interest in for him, that he didn't hand in a transfer request and want to come to the club and become like a little bit of that project player, especially in that midfield. Someone like him would be absolutely sensational. I think he'd be a real big push in that midfield. So yeah, Ward-Prowse, I've been a huge admirer of him for years, especially at his youth time at Manchester. I mean, not Manchester, at Southampton. He's just developed and he's just become really just a sensational player. I mean, English international, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets called up for the World Cup and things like that. But yeah, it's a different story. Another one that's moving on. This guy just makes sense because of where he is and how his contract situation is. Youri Tielemans, I've said it time and time again, Youri Tielemans to come to Newcastle United. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bid put in there. The likes of Arsenal and Manchester United were linked with him, but obviously Man United went and signed Christian Eriksen, and they also potentially look to be going for Casemiro. And then obviously Arsenal, I think Arsenal's pretty much done a bit of their business now, and I don't think there's seen much happening with Arsenal. I think they're quite happy with what they've done, unless they can get just one player in. I don't think it'll be a first team player like someone like Tielemans. I think, if I'm totally honest, we'll see. I think we'll see some movement in Tielemans, even if it's not to Newcastle by the end of this window. But he's just a player that makes sense financial-wise because of his contract running out at the end of the season. He wants to move, but he does also want to stay in the Premier League. So, and I think Newcastle United could really offer him that, and he's sensational, really. He's absolutely sensational. One last one, which I also forgot, he was on my list, is Callum Hudson-Odoi. Very, very mixed ratings with this guy. Massive mixed ratings with him in the fan base. I think, if I'm totally honest, Eddie Howe could revive this guy's career like he could with anyone else's. If it's a loan, the loan's not going to happen if Chelsea don't pay some of his wages. Newcastle just ain't going to pay 120 grand of his wages. I think that's what he's on, something stupid like that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that changes over time. Chelsea will look to probably move on a few of their players because they're going to try and force the deal for Aubameyang, which is a massive signing for Chelsea. Let's be honest. It's a huge signing for Chelsea. But it's becoming interesting, this transfer window, to say the least. Coming towards the end of the season, I mean, not the end of the season, end of this transfer window, we'll see some massive movement in Newcastle's camp. I'm pretty sure of it. I just think there is going to be 3 positions that we're looking at massively. I've always said there is going to be another striker coming in. Will that be Joao Pedro? Yes, most definitely. Will it be Goncalo Ramos? No, I don't think it'll ever be him. I think just because Benfica, they're probably going to get Champions League football this year. I think they might even milk the price tag and try and ask him for more money from Newcastle. Hate the player himself has probably demand something stupid in wages. So it's a bit of a shame for him. I didn't see enough stats to convince me that he's a good player. People might say that about Pedro, but if I'm totally honest, he's been in the Premier League, he's played in the Premier League, he's got experience in the Premier League, and he's a young up-and-coming Brazilian, so I would take him. Let's not forget, we are signing a player that also is for the future. So don't expect him to be like, right, he's coming in the first team right now. He's this kind of player that's going to be in around the first team for when they need to keep Wilson fit. And it's to help him develop really as a young lad. So I wouldn't be surprised on that one. But yeah, let us know what you think about these transfers. Just leave a comment in the comment section down below. Any more transfers that come thick and fast, obviously they'll be out in the shorts. Don't forget, if you're new and you're all watching this back on YouTube or you're all in the live, to subscribe to the channel. Help me push towards that 700 subscriber mark, because the channel just blew up and it's incredible that it's blew up. Like, I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers and it's incredible to even say that. I stopped doing YouTube. I've restarted doing YouTube, and I'm just starting to build the channel again. So yeah, I really do appreciate it. Don't forget, plenty more coming to the channel in the future. Game wise, obviously, I play a few games, bits and bobs, but yeah, different video. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you later.